Alberto Giacometti is recognized as one of the small group of modern masters who dominated art during much of the 20th century. Alberto Giacometti, the elder son of the painter Giovanni Giacometti and Annetta Giacometti Stampa, was born on October 10, 1901, in Borgo Novo, near Stampa, in the Bregaglia Valley in southeastern Swiss Alps. He had three younger siblings, two brothers, Diego and Bruno, and a sister named Ottilia. The air of closeness and danger in this southern valley made a deep impression on Alberto's imagination. Alberto's grandfather built the Hotel Piz Douane on the road through the pass, and in 1906 his son Giovanni moved with his growing family into a house diagonally opposite the hotel. Alberto's intense nature and extraordinary gift were recognized early on by his parents. His relationship to his mother, Annetta, a strong, encouraging, yet exacting personality, was unusually close and remained so into her old age. His father, too, was an important figure in Alberto's artistic development. As a child, Alberto was happiest when he was working with his father in the studio, so his early training occurred naturally. In the fall of 1919, Alberto begins studying art at the École des Beaux-Arts and École des Arts Industriels in Geneva. In January 1922, he moves to Paris and enrolls in a life drawing class and sculpture class at the Académie de la Grande Chaumière, which he continued to attend until 1927. Between 1942 and 1945, Alberto lived and worked in Geneva and met his future wife, Annette Arms, in the Brasserie Centrale. After the war, Giacometti returns home to his atelier in Paris and resumes his work there. Annette follows him a year later, and they are married on July 19, 1949, at the registry office in the 14th arrondissement. In October 1962, he is diagnosed with stomach cancer and undergoes surgery a few months later in Paris at the Rémy de Gourmont Clinic. 3 years later, at the urging of Annette, Giacometti checks himself into a hospital for exhaustion and heart and circulatory problems, but his condition worsens just before Christmas 1965. On January 10, 1966, he is diagnosed with pericarditis and dies of complications the next day. He was buried in a cemetery in Borgo Novo, where he was born. Self-Portraits, 1918. In this double portrait drawing of his mother and himself, the 17-year-old Alberto was already secure in his use of form. The two portraits, in three-quarter view, reflect Alberto's engagement with the great tradition of European art, which he had studied with intense concentration and copied from books. The two frontal views, on the other hand, recall the consistently stylized art of Ferdinand Hodler, a family friend who had recently died. Self-Portrait, 1921. Here, Alberto drew together what he had learned from his father, his sure touch with the paintbrush, and rich, densely intertwined, bright tonal values. But a very different artistic temperament manifests itself in the highly charged, analytical approach, as the composition bows to the rectangular shape of the picture. And we see a motif whose metaphorical content was to spur the artist on throughout his life, kneeling on one knee, with his gaze turned toward the viewer. Mountain at Stampa, 1923. Three Nudes, 1923-24. Self-Portrait, 1923-24. The Skull, 1923. Self-portrait, 1923. Self-portrait, 1925. Torso, 1925. Giacometti made his debut in the Salon d'Automne with Torso. The three elements of Torso's form are recognizable as a human body and legs, but they are altered in the direction of geometric clarity. Its taut forms and upward-striving contrapposto radiate an organic vitality that derives from years of life-drawing. Here, central concerns of Giacometti's sculpture, such as the act of seeing and the presence of voids, emerge for the first time. Studio with Sculptor's Turntable, 1931. Still Life with Gudea Head, 1927. Cubist Composition, Man, 1926-27. Figures, 1926-27. Here, the static isolation of the elements prevails. Any exchange between them is, if anything, symbolically indicated by a system of tubes. Composition, Reclining, Couple, 1927. Here Giacometti made a breakthrough by dissolving the solid plastic form and allowing space to penetrate it. While it still has an almost mechanical, superficial feel, it is the first work to realize an integrated dynamic. The form of the piece may well be indebted to Raymond Duchamp Villon's great sculpture The Horse of 1914, while the influence of Lipschitz is especially evident in other of its aspects. Spoon Woman, 1926-27. Inspired by the human-shaped spoons used by the Dan tribe in Africa, the Spoon Woman possesses a near magical evocative power, almost daunting the viewer with its seemingly ineluctable presence. The mighty spoon shape, reminiscent of primitive fertility idols, curves half toward the